And I hope for your sake, there's a doctor out there who still believes in you and you do.
It's so rude.
It was there all along. I have to go drinking, but I wanted you to know. Is that from an IV? You did the biopsy.
I did. They have a low-grade glioma.
How did GBM? I told you.
Cancer, Sean, it's still cancer. I have to undergo brain surgery, which is really scary because I'm not the one performing it. 5 days a week for 6 weeks of radiation, 10 more weeks of chemotherapy.
And then?
And then, with a little luck, you and I can go to the Super Bowl next season.
And I hear Ken is on the road to recovery, so your mistake couldn't have been too bad.
So he went to the guy's
room,
knocked on the
Dr.
door,
Andrews will use this.
and he said,
And do you remember the commitment that Dr. Glasson made when you were hired?
Didn't want to get
I
together
promised
that
you'd be
night.
excellent, right,
He had
Sean?
another friend
And you
over.
have been excellent.
So,
You can't
know what he
give
did?
Dr. Andrews
He
this
took
excuse.
Sean's pizza.
I
Closed the
was
door
not
on him.
excellent. This time I was
That hurt his
bad.
feelings so bad.
And surgeons have to be excellent every time.
He's a crap.
You agree with it?
I'm not gonna ask him to lie to save my job.
Don't do this.
It's up to Sean. I trust your judgment.
I'm not doing this to hurt you.
I know.
We are friends.
Yes, we are.
I love you.
I know. I love you too.
I love you more.
The Good Doctor will return next season, and watch full episodes.
That was it, huh?
Streaming now and on demand.
That's what's taking place of it.
That's the buzz on For the People.
That new show. It's taking its time slot.
The folks who brought you Grey's Scandal and Murder,
I'm yours.
they know what you want from a law show, and they're bringing it.
Another gay couple.
Just stand up. Did you get your fix every Tuesday?
Okay.
I'm scared of you, and I'm not moving. Go!
For the People, streaming now and on demand. New episode Tuesday on ABC. Unless you're on a
Get
boat.
canceled.
Former president of the MTC of Rape speaks out in her only exclusive television interview.
Chris Jones spoke with her tonight, and Chris, she says that she's not trying to bring down the LDS Church with these accusations.
No, the woman we spoke to, who we're not going to identify, says this is about shifting.
Okay, this
the
is
church.
Sky
She
Kingdom,
says, over
and
the years,
now
she
I'm
has
about
told
to
at
destroy
least
this
10
huge army.
church
There won't be a
leaders
problem.
about
Let's
what
get some
allegedly
fire.
happened
Let's
to
get some
her.
cannons.
She says
Let's
nothing
get
was
some
done.
lightning.
Now
I am
is
Thor. They're dead.
Uncomfortable, and I should have listened to that feeling.
She says the former president of the MTC, Joseph Bishop, raped her after taking her into a small basement room. She says Bishop called it a special place that he wanted to show her.
Things got darker. I was uncomfortable, but not so uncomfortable that I left. I totally trusted my priesthood leader.
And then in that room, she says, Bishop advanced.
Yeah, that's when it happened. He tried to kiss me, and I pushed him off, and I was like, oh, my God. Here's this old man. I'm 21 years old. Then he pulls my blouse and rips my buttons off. And then he ripped the back of my skirt by pulling my skirt up. It was an A-line skirt. There he was, trying to rape me.
She says for years she tried to tell leaders in the LDS church. We know of at least 4 occasions when she repeated the allegations to church leaders. But she says she's told at least 10 church leaders over the years.
I've been talking to bishops and stake presidents for years. One bishop in Colorado would need to listen to me.
But the church never took any official action against Bishop. And while the church says they've heard from another possible victim,
was it her bishop?
There are even more.
And you're certain there are other victims?
I am confident there are other victims.
Tonight she says this is not about money.
Say, was that her bishop?
The LDS church. It's about what's right.
This is about
So that was her bishop that did that?
A man who is a predator. I felt like, and I believed,
was he a bishop?
The NDC was a safe place. The church would never put an NDC president there that was a sexual predator. But they did.
What if he was also a bishop, though?
So since this story broke, there have been 3 allegations that have been connected to the woman we spoke to. One, that Bishop forced a sister missionary to show him her breast.
Bishop,
that,
man.
Bishop showed a sister missionary pornography and the rape. The woman we spoke to tonight says only the rape is tied to her. She says those 2 other incidents she believes are tied to other victims. Back to you.
Chris, thank you. And largely because of this case, tonight the LDS Church updates 4 major points for how religious leaders handle children and abuse victims. The church now says 2 adults must be present when teaching children in church, and another adult can be invited to participate if the child wants. When abuse is reported, no LDS member should be encouraged to remain in an abusive situation. And church leaders should never disregard reporting abuse to authorities.
Happening right now, Tooele police asking for your help. They're trying to find this missing and endangered teenager, 13-year-old Samantha Lee Campbell, last seen yesterday afternoon. Take a good look at the photo. Investigators are concerned that she may hurt herself. Samantha was last seen wearing a Thrasher hoodie, jeans with black and white Adidas shoes. She also goes by the name Sammy. If you see her, or if you know where she might be, please call Tooele Police.
New at 10 o'clock, within just the last few hours, we have obtained copies of the charges against a teen accused of bringing a bomb to a southern Utah high school. Jeremy Harris has been looking into this situation. And Jeremy, what new information have you learned about tonight?
Sean, I've been in contact with our Southern Utah reporter, DJ Bolerjack. With his help, we've been able to obtain these charging documents from juvenile court. They shed new light on 2 incidents, one at Hurricane High School where an ISIS flag was placed on the flagpole, the other at Pineview High School earlier this month where police say a student brought a bomb to class.
One charge of attempted murder, which is a first-degree felony.
Prosecutor Angela Adams says what a teen did at 2 southern Utah schools led her office to file several charges against him, including attempted murder.
I thought it was Pineview up here.
We're concerned that that it could happen again.
Court documents released tonight provide new details about the teen's alleged threats to Pineview and Hurricane High schools. Much of the new details focus on March 5th, when prosecutors say the teen brought a backpack with an improvised explosive device to Pineview. Charges say at 11:42 a.m., the teen opened the backpack, lit the fuse, and walked away from it.
I actually looked inside of it, and I saw a box of matches, and there was a canister in it.
Cops report finding a metal soup can filled with metal BB shots removed from shotgun shells. The newly released documents say when detectives interviewed the teen about the bomb, he said, quote, "If someone got hurt, I probably wouldn't care." He then said, "Fun kind of thing." Later in the interviews, detectives asked the teen, "Let's say that thing goes off and classmates would have gotten killed or seriously injured. What do you think about that?" The teen responded, "I would have been fine with it." The attempted murder charge does qualify for the serious youth offender classification. Now with that gives prosecutors the option to, if they choose, go ahead and charge him in adult court. That may play out over the coming weeks. We'll keep you posted. Back to you.
Jeremy, thank you very much.
All right, new at 10 tonight, a Utah man behind bars in connection with a deadly wrong-way crash in Arizona that claimed 3 lives. 49-year-old Dana Kavanaugh of Washington, Utah, being held on suspicion of homicide. They say on Saturday, police say he got onto the freeway going the wrong way, traveling about 500 feet before crashing head-on with another car. 3 women from California were in that vehicle. They were all killed. Investigators still trying to figure out if Kavanaugh was either impaired at the time of the crash or just what happened to make him get on the road on the wrong way.
On the live desk, we're following developing news
He's
coming
an
out of
idiot.
California tonight. We're in the last hour. The state's attorney general has filed suit against the Trump administration. This tweet coming from the AG in the last 45 minutes where he says he is going to sue over the decision to add citizenship question on the 2020 census. Now, the California AG says including the question is not just a bad idea, he calls it illegal. Now, President Trump's Commerce Department announced the added question this evening with strong objections coming from Democrats.
All lanes back open tonight after a deadly pileup that closed down I-80's Echo Junction for most of the day. Here's a look at that wreckage that left several semi-trucks strewn across the highway. In total, there were 23 vehicles involved in this pileup that spanned about half a mile. Missouri semi-truck driver Oscar Longoria was the lone fatality in this crash. 3 others were taken to the hospital.
Yeah, if you're flying out of Salt Lake City tomorrow, you're headed to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Look out. Severe storms are expected tomorrow. These storms are inching slowly closer, but the bigger storms will come tomorrow in eastern Texas and portions of Oklahoma and Arkansas. So we'll be tracking those. Also Missouri in line for some of those storms. But here in Utah, we're going to see improving weather conditions. After a little bit of a snowy, wet, cold weekend, we're going to see some warming temperatures. That's going to feel pretty nice. You can see the blue sky increasing today and the snow melting in most of the valley locations. Winds are light. Provo's got a little wind out at about 13 miles an hour. It's a little breezy in St. George right now at 23 miles an hour. Those winds all out of the north, which means our warm-up is going to be a little bit slow. We've got one little disturbance that's going to clip northern Utah. We'll talk more about that coming up, but it is going to warm our temperatures up to about 62 degrees. I'll have your full forecast coming up in just a minute, but tomorrow morning we'll see those temperatures just below freezing. All right, thanks, Sterling. 12 hours from now, a UHP trooper will be talking for the first time about being hit by a car in Sargent Canyon. Sergeant Cade Brenchley was outside his patrol car checking on accident victims during yesterday's snowstorm when he was hit. Sergeant Brenchley was checking on accident victims during a snowstorm when he was actually struck. He suffered broken bones, but is expected to make a full recovery. Sergeant Brenchley is expected to talk about his terrifying experience tomorrow morning. We'll be at the hospital. We'll bring you his story right here on Channel 2 and on KUTV.com.
New tonight, the fallout continues in connection to the Larry Nassar sex abuse scandal. The former dean of the College of Osteopathic Medicine at Michigan State University has now been arrested. The school says William Strample failed to monitor and enforce clinical guidelines that were put in place after a 2014 sexual harassment investigation. The official charges against Strample have not yet been disclosed. According to several employees, Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke has repeatedly said diversity isn't important to him. 3 high-level department heads say Zinke made comments, including, quote, "I don't care about diversity." A department spokeswoman denies that Zinke criticized the need for diversity. According to a lawyer for a reassigned staffer, nearly half of the senior executive staffers
Does that mean he's racist?
moved last year where minorities were employed. Zinke is currently under investigation for employee reassignment as well as his use of taxpayer funding for travel.
Okay, promise of retaliation on the table tonight after President Trump joined the world in taking punitive action against Russia. Today, over 100 Russian diplomats expelled from dozens of different countries. The move is a response to Russia's alleged involvement in a nerve gas attack that killed a former Russian spy and his daughter in Great Britain.
It was a reckless action. It endangered not just 2 individuals who were poisoned, but many civilians, many innocent civilians.
President Trump sending 60 Russian diplomats back to Moscow. He's also shutting down the Russian consulate in Seattle. While President Trump says he's still willing to work with Russia on what he calls areas of mutual concern, one of the nation's ambassadors says Russia will retaliate for the world's mass expulsion of their diplomats.
A search underway tonight in Russia for 10 people still missing.
Well, we need to mind their P's and Q's then and then go to our countries.
There was no warning when those flames sparked. The fire exits were blocked and the building's alarm system had been turned off. 4 people, including the tenant of the building, have been detained and questioned. The cause of the fire is still under investigation.
Really more proud than anything. And I kind of wear my emotions on my sleeve anyway. So it's, I don't know, just a very proud moment for me.
Keeping a family tradition going, why emotions are running especially high for this young man you just heard from, getting ready to ship out and serve his country.
And get this, some new fallout tonight for Uber. Following a self-driving test that turned deadly, the bold move Arizona's governor made to try and prevent another tragedy like this from happening.
A wrong turn sends a car down a staircase, and hits just kept on coming. The trouble, a tow truck had trying to get this car back on the road.
As an accident victim, your family is faced with many difficult decisions. It's hard
That's
to know
funny.
what to do when you've never been in a situation like this. We understand what you're going through. Call Robert J. DeBryan Associates today.
Sure, we have the largest inventory of new or used vehicles in Tooele County. But at Performance Auto Mall Tooele, the most important thing is putting a smile on your face.
During our anniversary sale, come take a spin for additional savings up to best price on any new or pre-owned vehicle here at Performance Auto Mall Tooele.
If it's American made, it's in Tooele. And there'll be any price on any new vehicle, or it's free.
Nothing puts a smile on your face like the Performance Auto Mall Tooele anniversary sale.
It's me again, and it's time to rejuvenate my lawn. That's why I went to J&J Garden Center to purchase their do-it-yourself 5-step fertilizer system. It comes with simple directions and is just $134.98. And nobody beats their price.
Whoa.
Nobody. So for a lush, healthy lawn, try J&J Garden Center's simple 5-step fertilizer program. Take the Layton Parkway exit, Main Street to Jim Powell. Just 2 miles. You've got to see it to believe it. You really do.
And your showroom?
Going the extra mile.
There are a million reasons for why you'll receive a world-class car buying experience at Mike Hill Acura.
Thrilling performance and dynamic design can be yours with the Acura RDX. Every detail of the 2018 Acura RDX is designed, engineered, and tested to put you confidently in charge. Get a special lease on a 2018
Celebrate friendship and beyond at the first ever Pixar Fest with all new fireworks and your favorite park parades, only at Disneyland Resort.
Get a great deal more than a great deal at the Hyundai Season of More event. Get up to $5,000 in savings or 0% APR for 60 months on the Sonata Hyundai. Utah Hyundai dealer.
Prone 2, a new way to cover your news. Brought to you by Siegfried and Jensen, Utah Injury Attorneys. We'll come to you. Powerful winds slam the Wasatch Front.
It's starting to pick up right now. Here comes another gust.
2 News informing.
We have confirmed Brigham City that 10 homes have been flooded.
When Utah weather impacts you, trust 2 News to keep you safe and informed.
New tonight, Arizona's governor has suspended Uber's self-driving vehicle testing privileges following last week's deadly pedestrian accident in Tempe. The governor told Uber officials in a letter today that video footage of the crash raised major safety concerns. He called the crash an unquestionable failure to comply with safety expectations. This was the first fatality involving a self-driving vehicle. And an Uber driver in San Francisco having a bad day after making a wrong turn and then getting stuck on a pedestrian staircase. A tow truck tried to pull the vehicle off of the staircase, but the cable on the tow truck broke, causing the car to slide down. It crashed into a trash can and came to a final stop when it hit a fire hydrant. There were several passengers inside the car. No one was hurt. Uber says it is looking into the incident. It's unclear if the driver will be cited.
Well, a very bittersweet day for military families with many hugs, kisses, and, well, a lot of tears, too. 130 National Guard soldiers with the 65th Field Artillery Brigade deployed today. They won't see their loved ones for another 12 months. Our 2 News' Brona Tumulty has on the tough goodbye. Brona?
That's right, Mark. The countdown is now